listening to the Ringside Renaissance Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Ringside Renaissance. We're here with the RRW Weekly Review, and I'm here with QR Kev, Pretty Deadly Jesse, and I'm Andy, Andrew, or whatever you want to call me. How y'all doing today? What's up?
I'm good, Andy. Drew, how are you?
Andrew's doing just fine.
Yeah. Drew, Andrew.
Yeah,
Nice to see you.
Yeah. Nice
Pretty
to see
Deadly
you too.
Jesse.
Hey, rather be seen than viewed.
Yes, and I'm here, and I got a special breaking news report to you guys.
Oh my
and
God!
The whole world, and that is, I believe in Joe Henry. I'm on the train. The bandwagon has started, and I'm on it.
How can you not be on that train? It's a catchy train.
Yes, it's trending worldwide on the Billboard charts.
In the UK.
Just in the UK. I'm predicting a Grammy for that song.
It's number one in the UK.
Yeah.
Too bad his work in the ring doesn't reflect his singing ability, huh?
It's too bad. Talented man.
The real question is he actually playing the guitar in that?
I think so. I mean,
if you believe in Joe Hendry, you better believe in him playing guitar.
I believe.
Yeah.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a lot to get into, man. We have our weekly review. We're talking about wrestling news around the world. We're going to start off hot with some AEW news. Dynamite last week started off with Tony Khan in an undisclosed location saying he couldn't make it to Dynamite, but he was doing the production from wherever his location was, parts unknown. And
the Jacksonville War Room.
The video went all blurry or fuzzy and went to the Elite saying that they were going to be taking over the show, basically in like almost like a, people hate comparing, but an NWO kind of takeover to AEW. I mean, I don't know how you all feel about it. I feel a certain way, but
I thought it was pretty funny that they changed the opening to Dynamite to just be them and Okada.
Yeah.
Like a video package of the three of them. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, they kind of hacked the screen.
Hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
They were in the video truck, and Tony came on talking, and they hacked through more hacking going on.
Are they the ones that are going to be showing up in WWE?
Maybe they hacked the show on SmackDown and Raw.
What would be
Backlash.
worse, them or Uncle Howdy?
I don't think they would have anything to do with Uncle Howdy.
No, I'm saying, like, what would be a worse, like, reveal after all these QR codes? Them or Uncle Howdy?
Do you want me to answer that honestly?
Okay, then you know what, though.
Both.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, the whole thing was kind of funny to me. Like, like if they're in control of a production truck, there wouldn't be like fuzzy glitches and everything. It would just be a screen cut, like a camera change during a regular episode. I think it was overly produced and just kind of looks really goofy at the end of the day. I mean,
right.
And, stop the presses. If Tony Khan can't produce from his home in a neck brace, then they can't run Dynamite. Like they don't have anybody else there that could produce the show if he's not able to be there. Like you already know how I feel about it. I mean,
yeah, it's kind of overplayed at this point with it. Oh no, who knows? We'll see where they go with it. As far as Dynamite, I thought it was a pretty decent episode though compared to more recent ones we've had. Swerve kind of came out right after that, and he had been talking somewhat about them hacking and trying and the power struggle of the show, and that he's not cool with it, and
pretty sure he called it a bitch move.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And that got the Bucks to go on the screen and kind of talk their shit to him, which they in turn revealed they were alluding to his opponent for Double or Nothing, and the way they were going about it, I'm glad with who it is, But the way they were talking about him, like, are they really about to fucking make his opponent Jack Perry?
Yeah, I don't think that would have.
I don't think it would have gone over good at all.
Because they can't have Jack Perry lose at this point. I mean,
exactly.
It just wouldn't make sense.
And records matter, stats matter. Yeah, in AEW.
Yeah, I liked, just to go back to the Bucks thing real quick. I like their excuse, like we have an ironclad clause in our contract that we can't be fired. I don't know of any business, any company you work for that has any sort of ironclad thing that if we attack the boss, we still can't be fired. Like we can just beat up whoever we want and can't be fired. I don't know. I'm sure there's legality around that. That, I don't know. I'm stupid. But
as EVPs,
Yeah.
The fucking EV pussies.
So Swerve Strickland was out in the ring, and it got revealed that Christian Cage has returned to be the first challenger, I believe, for Swerve Strickland and his title.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I'm totally okay with. I think they can really do something with this if they keep the Christian Caniacs out of there and just leave it Christian Cage and Swerve Strickland. I think that would be a really solid match, and I think Swerve would go over, and I think that would put him over against a solid, like, proven in-ring veteran.
Yeah, I think it was the best case scenario as far as for an opponent for Swerve to come off with, and having like an actually good heel, somebody that can put him over more as a babyface and make a new feud. And then with Christian returning, we had the family, the Patriarch's family, Nick Wayne coming back finally, and his mother, which I've been wondering where Nick Wayne has been the whole time, since he was one of these big signings and big deals. And he has history with Swerve too, going back to...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, with everything that's been going on, I forgot about that history there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, when I just was trying to, like, lead into it, I was sitting here thinking, like, is it Kyle Fletcher? Who the fuck is that? Like, I couldn't even think of his name.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how invested I am with it. And then you got the Kill Switch, who still wears a dinosaur mask.
Lucha Kill Switchosaurus.
Jesus. But, as far as in the build for it, Christian he can talk, Swerve's pretty good on the mic. I think they can build something big. I think the in-ring will be good.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I think it'll be good for Swerve to have a solid match. Like, his championship match was against Samoa Joe, who's good in the ring, and then Christian Cage, who's decent or good in the ring, So I think that can only build his title reign up more by getting the win over Christian Cage,
Agreed.
Right.
And I think at this point in Christian's career, he's more or less there to help put this younger talent over.
Mm-hmm.
As we've said with all the older talent now in both companies. But I think Christian's at that point where he could help more by doing that than he can help the company by being a champion, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
right.
And he quite understands what to do with that too, and how to do that. The only thing that was like, it kind of puzzled me a little bit was that he lost the championship to Adam Copeland, and goes away, but then comes back and gets the challenge for the world championship. But I guess that's because of the EVPs and their power and manipulation of the company.
How long do we see this stupid power struggle going on, guys?
Long time.
You think so?
Yeah. They think in their heads that this is like a great storyline that's going to work. And
like, are we talking past All In?
Jesus. Probably.
Like a year?
Yeah, because that's where the initial thing with Punk and everything started and whatever. I think they're going to build like a big match for All In.
Yeah. They have to go with it now and have to build with it at this point.
Oh, yeah. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly,
Yeah.
This is their main story now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think they kind of bury, they're blurring it into the world title picture with them having their little confrontation with Swerve and whatever. And I think that kind of buries Swerve. Just let him do his thing separate. Like, you don't have to have everything intertwining,
right.
Just kind of let it be and let it grow. And let him have his own reign without them having to have their hands in it, But that's not what we're going to get. So,
and I don't understand where they're going to go from that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are the Bucks going to end up being turning good because of it, or is this just going to continue forever like Vince in the WWE as, you know, corporation in a sense? Like,
they're going to go until the storyline's beaten into the ground, and then they're going to post something on Twitter saying we're going away for a while, and they're going to come back with some other half-ass gimmick. That's what they've done the last 3 times.
And everybody's going to be happy to see him, and then act like everybody forgot.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Speaking on beating the story into the ground, it feels like it's already kind of getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you know, they think it works in their heads, and as long as they're getting their continuous viewership and whatever, they're not like concerned. I don't think AEW is concerned with growing their product. They're like Andy had said before in a past episode, they're more concerned with just keeping their core like
cult
niche
following.
like cult following. You know, they're not concerned with growing the product, you know. And I think they're okay with mediocrity, you know.
To me, that just puts them on the same shelf as Impact then. Like when this company started, you could tell they had clear goals in mind as being that top rival to WWE, and now it just seems like they'd rather just sit on the shelf next to TNA.
Well, as long as they have a money stream coming in, an endless money stream, and a TV deal and stuff like that, you know, like we see them in their arenas they're doing with the audiences and stuff like that. And the Daily's Place show was just ridiculous, but
it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, and maybe they're okay with that. You know, maybe they're okay with conceding and just being like another wrestling company in their heads, you know, and their loyal following is just the ones keeping it alive, is like, oh, this is competition, you know. So
they're fine.
We don't
with
know
it
what
too,
they're thinking.
A lot of them. So whatever, you know.
So later in the show, another big point is Kenny Omega made his big return.
Yes.
In
Winnipeg.
Came to the ring. Yeah, in Winnipeg. Yep, in his hometown.
Yep.
Came out, and I think I told you guys, like, I think that was the best Kenny Omega promo I've seen in a long time, if not ever. You know, it was very real. It was very to the heart, blurring the lines of storyline and reality with his diagnosis that he has, and you know, saying that he wanted to give up, but he's gonna exhaust all his options, and like he's gonna be back. And it was very impassioned, and it wasn't like a rah Adam Copeland speech that we got a few weeks ago. It was just Kenny speaking from the heart to the fans, and I really liked it, you know. And I wish he was cleared to come back and do something for the company instead of just going back on the shelf, because that was just something that just got me that got me invested in the story. Kenny Omega got me invested in the story, you know. And
which I truly think that's what they needed, whether or not he was cleared or not. I think one of you said on last week that he was on his show saying that he really didn't know he was going to be included in that episode of Dynamite till he got a text from someone saying, "Oh, you're coming back," and he goes, "Oh, I guess I'm coming back." I wonder if they felt like they needed to do that to amp it up a bit.
Yeah, I wonder, you know, how real that is too. That's interesting, if he knew he was coming back or not for that. I mean, I'm sure he saw that there was a show coming up in Winnipeg. It seems like it's something they would have planned, but it's AEW, so who knows. But going back to his promo, I thought it was great for sure. I was invested because of everything he was saying, and I was also a little worried when he first started to talk and what he was talking about, because I'm like, is he really about to like retire or go away for a while?
I got Edge mid-2000 vibes from that.
Yeah, or like the Roman Reigns one.
Yeah,
when he went away, you know. So yeah, he talked about like his diverticulitis, and said he couldn't, the doctor said if he gets like hit in the stomach any more times, he could die, and it's like a ticking time bomb and stuff. So
yeah, I thought it was... Then why didn't you get the surgery already and then be cleared by now?
Well, I think he kind of broke it down why it was kind of like a lose either way. Sort of. But
who knows? He might have gotten it low key.
Yeah,
you know, he might have already gotten it low key, and it's just they were just playing, because Kenny Omega like disappeared for a while.
Yeah,
like he wasn't really doing his Twitch streams as much that I know of. I don't follow that stuff.
No, those only started back up honestly around WrestleMania time.
Yeah, so maybe he just got it done and he's recovering, and they're just leaning into it for storyline, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And then, you know, then we saw Jack Perry come out and have a little confrontation, and
Okada. Yeah.
Okada does a lot of just standing around. Like, I don't really get that. You know, Kenny Omega like fought off Jack Perry and was hitting his moves on him in the ring, and Okada was just standing there looking at him. Like, if your faction member is getting beat up, do you think you're just going to stand outside the ring?
Yeah,
the whole thing was kind of confusing, but you know, so it ended up Jack Perry hit Omega with the gut shot with the chair, and got the save from FTR.
Yep.
And again, there's 4 guys in the ring, and FTR comes out, and they have to bail. Like, you know, whatever. But then they show Omega going backstage, strapped onto the stretcher, and here come the Elite, and nobody can help. Like, there's nobody in the back that can do, you know, whatever. And
well, you have a full roster. One, you just had Swerve talking shit to the Bucks and to start the show.
Yeah,
so
right.
you know whose side Swerve's on.
Yeah, that's true.
You mean to tell me he's not in the building anymore? Joe's not there.
Yeah,
where's Copeland?
I mean, the whole thing. I think on paper I can see it working out and being like successful and like very like whatever, but the execution, I think, is just like this whole like leaning over him, talking to him on the stretcher for a minute before flipping him, and like Matt Jackson's got like this like, I don't know, he does like this stutter thing now. I don't know if he's doing it to try to sound like more menacing, but he sounds like he got struck by lightning or something.
Yeah.
I got to do this. We got to change the world. And it's like, shut the fuck up.
We said we were going to change the world, right?
Let's change our 500,000 viewers.
It's just business. Just
Okay.
business.
Not good business.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's
But
just
it's
business. It's just business to beat up a guy that hasn't been in your company for months and is suffering from a fucking illness, to flip him over on a fucking stretcher. Like, what kind of business is that? You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
It's a bigger draw than you. Yeah.
like I've said to you guys before, like, if they had done this months ago and kind of leaned into this whole thing with like Omega with the Bucks, and then having them do the attack on CM Punk and FTR doing the save, and it's just business and beating up Punk and whatever, it would have been nuclear. I think that would have just drawn so much. But like, I think they're just trying to plug and play Kenny Omega or maybe Swerve into this to be that like extra person.
I think they're trying to see which one's going to get a bigger reaction, and then whichever one goes the smoothest, that's what they're going to go with. You're going to see a lot of interchanging in this story in the next few weeks, and I don't know. I'm not really excited, but we'll see.
I can see that.
The Omega promo was insane. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything he said was perfect. The emotion was there. Like we said, we got those vibes like, okay, this might be it.
He was being real. He wasn't being a cosplay wrestler. Right. You know, that's how Omega was in the past. That's how the Bucks are. You can tell they're just acting. Like, they're poorly acting. And Omega, even though he was, like you said, like, he was acting, but he was speaking from the heart, you know, like he was blurring that line. And
well, he set it up good too, saying, you know, I can't get hit in the stomach one more time or I could die or this or that. And then Jack Perry comes out with the gut shot to the chair.
Yeah.
Like, that was clever. That was good. And, you know.
But as soon as he said it, I'm like, wow, she's going to get hit in the stomach at some point.
Yeah. And
then he gets fucking railed off of a stretcher.
Yeah, I think, like I had talked about a few minutes ago, if it was as serious as like they're building it, like, I don't think they would have taken those bumps. I don't think he would have taken those bumps. Like, even though it could have been protected and whatever, like the chair shot, you can camera angle it and stuff, whatever, which they didn't do a camera angle on a chair shot later in the night. But they could have did that and worked it, but like flipping him off the stretcher and stuff, like, that's kind of onto cement. There was no way to kind of protect him for that.
Right.
Yeah, if he wasn't going to be coming back in some capacity to wrestle at some point again, I don't think they would have done any of that, and it would have been a totally different promo. You know, but it was even better that it was in Winnipeg too. The crowd was really buying into it too, which was good, and you know, good to see him home there and get some respect there too.
Yeah, and I can see them building to, like we've talked about before, like they have this Blood and Guts event that comes up. I don't know exactly when it comes up, but like having the Bucks, Okada, Jack Perry, and maybe Hangman against FTR, Swerve, Kenny, and I don't know who the fifth guy would be, but like I can see him
CM Punk.
building.
Yeah,
that'd be
or a
fucking
potential
hilarious.
all-in match. You know,
Right.
3-on-3. It's still far out, but who knows? You know what his timetable is.
Summertime?
Yeah, July or August, I believe.
September is it even?
Oh,
August
really?
or
It's
September?
that
I
far?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe. Yeah.
So we got a lot of time to build up towards that. So they got
Yeah.
time to cook with. I just
Yeah.
hope they cook this and not burn it.
And like Andy said, the rest of the episode was pretty good. There wasn't a lot of like I'm gonna remember these moments, but like a lot of it, you know, they did as far as a solid start to finish match, you know, minus the stuff that I don't personally care for, but you know, I try to put my personal feelings aside and just try to judge it as like a average wrestling fan, you know.
Right.
And I think they did pretty well. The Rampage afterwards was kind of throwaway. And
what did you guys think of Copeland versus Buddy Matthews? I thought that was a solid match.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I had wrote down in my notes too. It was a solid match. Yeah, it was good.
Start to finish, like that's the thing. I know Copeland's getting up there in age, and he can still move fairly well. But like Buddy Matthews is younger,
Yep,
he's faster, and he's a bit stronger. So he really carried that match.
I don't think Buddy Matthews can really put on a bad match. Like he's hard hitting. He takes great bumps, great hits. I saw the ladder match live against him versus Andrade.
Oh, how was that live?
That collision, that was fucking awesome. That was very well. Yeah, I've been a good fan of him since back to when he was in WWE and went against Aleister Black, and they had that little feud. I thought that was just great. So
yeah, and I wish they wouldn't have ruined him as the disciple.
And then they're building. It's going to be probably Double or Nothing Edge against Malachi Black. You know, he's fighting all the members of the House of Black leading up to it and stuff, which I think will be a pretty solid match.
I think this week he's got Brody Lee.
Yep.
For TNT.
Yeah, so I think, you know, they're building to that. And then they had that little moment at the end where he was going to do the concerto thing, which was a stupid ass spot anyway for me personally. But and then Malachi came out and you know, kind of stopped him, and then went black and came back, and
he's telling him to do it. Yeah.
Succumb to the hate.
Yeah.
Okay, Emperor Palpatine.
Palpatine. Yeah, that's what I'm fucking thinking. I feel like we're in Star Wars or something. We're trying to say Copeland's Luke or something.
And we got who we get? Samoa Joe versus
Isaiah Cassidy.
Yeah.
Did you hear Isaiah scream when he got launched?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does that all of his matches.
I know, but it's funny every time he does it.
Yep.
I just, you know.
And he was the heel in the match, too. Isaiah was clearly put out there to be like the bad guy in the match. And obviously Joe was going to squash him.
Oh, he fucked his little ass up.
Anytime they put a tag team wrestler in a singles match against somebody, I'm just automatically going to assume the singles guy is going to win. You know?
Right.
Whatever. You couldn't have found anybody with the 50, 60 guys you have on your roster. You couldn't find anybody else for Samoa Joe to fight. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I would have rather seen him squash Trent.
But
he could squash Gravity again.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so we're going to switch over to the Fed now. We're going to switch over to WWE. This past weekend, we had, they were in Lyon, France. First, they had SmackDown. And then on Friday and then Saturday, they had their premium live event Backlash. And to lead this off, I'm just going to say, what an amazing crowd.
Holy fuck.
Both nights, that crowd was on fire. If there's anything that can get me into a show that I'm not too pumped about, it's a hot crowd.
Yeah.
And that crowd was ready to have wrestling in their country. Like, they were ready to go. I don't think there was a dull moment.
There might have been one small dull moment, and that was in the predictable ending for Damian and Jay. I noticed the crowd was a little less loud in that one, but like you said, they made even the matches that weren't good on this card really good.
Yeah, well, once you saw SmackDown and you heard the crowd on SmackDown,
you just knew.
You're like, oh shit, Backlash is going to be off the hook.
Yeah, I think I told you guys, I can't wait to see how they are tomorrow night. Or tomorrow for Backlash.
Yep.
Like, I think they started off hot with, I've never heard a crowd sing Randy Orton's music like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did it on SmackDown
start to finish, every word. They didn't miss a beat.
But SmackDown, Jesse, you had told me, you're like, they just popped for a tag that it wasn't even like a hot tag.
It wasn't even a
Like,
hot tag.
yeah.
It was just like somebody walked over to the corner and I don't remember what the match was, but they just walked over and tagged somebody else, and the whole crowd just started chanting and it was like insane. It was insane. It was like
insane in the membrane.
You could have botched moves and they would have started chanting, and like it was just so hot. Like it makes American crowds look fucking pathetic.
Well,
you know, like
it did just that. Look back at Monday night. The crowd went right back to doing the what chant.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you didn't hear the what chant once when they were in France.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to step our game up here. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was phenomenal to see, and then to say that to segue into the undisputed championship match.
Yeah,
with Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles.
Dude,
and
the hard cam
AJ
shook.
Styles playing the heel. And when they were announcing, when Samantha Irvin was announcing him as the challenger and stuff, the crowd was so electric. They showed the hard cam, and the hard cam was shaking.
Yes,
from like them jumping up and down and chanting and cheering so much, and like you could tell it. You can kind of see on AJ's face, like, what am I supposed to do right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Well,
do I play this up or stay?
I don't know if you saw his tweet. Did you?
Yeah.
His tweet yesterday saying, like, I don't know if I should be saying this because I'm a bad guy and all. But he basically praised Lyon and France for the way they handled his entrance and the way they cheered for him.
It was
even
awesome.
The heels are acknowledging that crowd was next level.
Yeah. I mean, you can't not put it out there.
No.
It reminded me, I think it was even better than what it was, but somebody told me that it reminded them of the Puerto Rico crowd.
Might have been me saying that.
Yeah. From like a year ago or whatever it is, when Bad Bunny was there versus Damian Priest in the street fight or whatever. But yeah, it was loud. I think
Here's
France
the
was even
difference
louder
between the two events, the two backlashes, Backlash Puerto Rico and France.
Yeah,
Backlash Puerto Rico was unhinged during the Bad Bunny and Priest match.
Yeah, that's true.
During that match.
Yeah,
Lyon, France, they were lit start to finish.
Yeah, for everything. Yeah,
they didn't sit down.
Yeah, like when Naomi came out.
Holy shit!
Crazy. Yeah, like
when you hear it's Tiffy time, that crowd fucking lost it.
Yeah.
The only time she'll get a good applause.
They even made some of the matches that weren't that great.
Yeah. I mean, and it started off with Randy Orton and KO coming out, and then the Bloodline, I guess, Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga coming out, and them just brawling, and
that was awesome.
You know, like whatever, and then
Nick Aldis
came out and said that it was going to be an anything goes match, and the crowd just lost their shit, and it was hard hitting. I'm usually not a huge fan of like anything goes, you know, no DQ matches. Like they kind of just as a former wrestling personality says, it's lazy booking. Like it just you can just do whatever you want, you know. But like that crowd was bought into it, and they were just heated, and
they wanted it.
And those guys pulled it off very well. And you're trying to portray Solo and Tama Tonga as like these like vicious, like visceral people, you know, like wrestlers, and you know, just to have a standard tag match, I don't think would have fit that bill very well. And talking about starting with a bang too. Like, and I love KO and Randy Orton together. I think that's.
I hope they're starting to really try and build them up as a formidable tag team, because they work so well off each other.
Yeah, and it's just, and they don't even have to like hold the titles or anything. Just be a kind of a faction together doing their thing, and
they will though at some point.
Yeah, but I mean, they play. You can tell that they get along backstage, so like it resonates out in front of the camera. And the match ended with the big surprise reveal of the newest member of the bloodline, I guess.
Not Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu. Not Jacob Fatu.
I said not Jacob Fatu.
Oh, jeez. Not yet.
Yeah.
So,
Tama Tonga's brother came in to break up the count. And
Tongaloa, that's it.
Yeah, and you know, essentially join forces with Solo Sikoa and his brother, and cost them the match, which was very interesting. I think the best person in this whole storyline is Paul Heyman, because of when he was on SmackDown, pleading Randy Orton and KO to not face them because of what's going to happen, and then backstage with Nick Aldis saying that he hasn't spoke with Roman Reigns since WrestleMania, and kind of like dropping that little line, basically making people question and think, like, is Roman Reigns behind this? Are Solo and Tama Tonga and are they just going rogue right now? Like, what is really going on? Are they going to kick Heyman out, or like leaving that kind of unsettled, you know? And after the match, backstage, we talked about Jey Uso was getting ready for his match, and the bloodline, as it were, walk by him, and then Paul Heyman walks by, and Jay and Paul just kind of give each other that like look, like what's going on, you know, like
Paul like shook his head and put his hand up at him.
Like I don't,
don't do it.
I don't have nothing to do with this shit.
Right.
I think it was more like a please don't get involved.
Yeah, planting the seeds type thing, Yeah,
and definitely.
But they did their job right there, because we're questioning what it meant. We're questioning, wait a minute, what is this? Right. And which kind of, I lost it a little bit. If it was just Jay and Paul backstage, like cool, but like having Solo and all, like them walk by and not attack Jay and just walk by him, like when they're so like, like so nuclear, like it's like, okay, you're gonna be these vicious guys, but just walk by Jay, like, so that kind of took me out of it a little bit. But the moment with Jay and Paul was really interesting for me.
I thought that moment was beautifully done.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
that's like perfect storytelling, and without even saying a word.
And Tonga Loa and Tama Tonga were in a tag team together, correct?
Yes, the GOD, Gorillas of Destiny.
Okay,
I believe so.
Gorillas of Destruction or Gorillas of Destiny in New Japan.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
They look creepy as hell. I'd be remiss in saying I would love to see a match between the reunited Usos and GOD.
I think we're going to get there. Jimmy hasn't been on stage, hasn't been on TV since
Solo,
since he got attacked, by Tama Tonga and Solo. So,
right after Mania. Yeah.
Kind of just leaving it that. So that leads into the World Heavyweight title match, Damian Priest against Jey Uso, and Jey Uso coming out in the crowd with all, like, I don't know how nobody has thought of this in the crowd, to turn their cell phone cameras on when they're doing the yeeting, and just the visual of that, and him just eating it up and just being a part of that and feeding into the crowd's energy.
He went to like one side each time when they're out there. And, like, they did it. Like, that's awesome. Yeah.
And, to me, that was the best part of the match. I mean, the match itself wasn't really much of anything I'm not going to put that on one of my match suggestions, but it accomplished what they set out to do, and to maybe show some dissension in the Judgment Day.
I don't see how Priest could have been mad, though. Like, they helped him win.
Yeah, but I think he's torn with wanting to build his legacy as a champion and not want to have interference and stuff, Yeah. But it did what it was supposed to do. It planted that seed, like you said, like we said, the seeds of questioning, like, wait, what is this? And looking back on it in hindsight, Priest was the right guy to win. If they're gonna put Jay into the bloodline thing, then they can't have him have the World Heavyweight title,
and then say you did have Jay win the title, and who are you gonna have him drop it to that's credible?
Yeah.
And
Damian just got it.
That decision. The match was fairly predictable, like I've said. Like, you knew Judgment Day was gonna come out.
Right.
You knew something was going to happen with that. And as soon as I saw JD put Priest's foot on the rope, I'm like, all right, there's your finish right here.
Yeah, there was a few moments, though, I thought it was a good match in the aspect of, there was a few moments at the end that I was like, oh, shit, Jay might actually win this.
Yeah, when he hit the Uso splash off the top,
And when Jay kicked Finn, and Finn was standing on the outside of the ropes, and Finn kind of like turned inside out and hit the side of the ring. That was good too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was good all around. Like I said, it accomplished what it needed to do. Who knows? But Damian Damian Priest, I don't think should drop the title right away, even though I'm not sold on him being champion. Just to have him lose it that quick wouldn't have made any sense whatsoever.
Right.
No, I understand him. He had to cash in at some point, right? And his time was running out. WrestleMania is the best spot to do it. He does it, but then you got to keep the belt on him for a little bit. He's not just a squash guy. He's the leader of the faction. Oh,
yeah, I don't know.
But you need to build him up just a little bit more before you take it away. And going back to Jay's entrance real quick, I think it's all over the internet. That was the greatest entrance so far this year.
It's cool.
Maybe ever. Cool. That was awesome.
It was cool to see fan participation with it, and
well, he came out through the crowd too, didn't he?
And just a quick shout out, not to dwell too much on Backlash, we got a few other things to talk about, but Bayley was in the triple threat with Tiffany Stratton and Naomi, and I think they, I don't like triple threats. I've mentioned it before. I'm not a big fan of triple threat matches, but I think they did all right, and Bayley seems like she can hold that title well, and they had the story of her and Naomi being friends, and is there going to be dissension there at some point, like Naomi being tired of just being the champion's friend and turning heel? Like there's
how many times have we seen that story though?
Yeah, when she brought Bayley, Bayley pinned Naomi and won, and retained the title, and then after the match, Naomi brought her back in the ring and lifted her hand up and raised her hand and whatever, and I for a second I was like, is there going to be a turn here? Like, is there going to be something here? And we shall see. Next up was the tag titles, the women's tag titles, Damage Control against Jade and Bianca Belair. I think we all kind of knew what this was going to be. But not for nothing, though. The WWE is doing a good job protecting Jade and letting Bianca be the workhorse and kind of let Jade just come in and do her stuff. But when she came in the ring, she looked all right.
Yeah.
She didn't look too. She's still green, but
she's still a little rusty, but
slightly robotic. But
but the crowd was into it too, and they just look great, phenomenal in all ways. Jade and Bianca, like so dominant too, and they had a few really good moves at the end when they kind of did that back suplex into whatever you want to call it. It was pretty great. And then the way Jade did her finisher to Kairi Sane, I thought was just like unbelievably cool. Like,
that's the second time in her career she's done it like that. She did it in AEW once.
Yeah, but that one, she just like threw her around like a rag doll, like, and just showed her strength. And I thought that was one of the best like spots of the night almost. The end when she did that, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was good for what it was. Yeah.
New tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, and like I said, it's good to give Jade exposure without exposing her. If that makes any sense. Yeah. And on to the main event, we've touched on it briefly, was Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. Again, I think was a phenomenal match. It didn't have to do too much. This crowd, they didn't, and none of the matches had to do too much. Just be solid. Don't botch too much. Just kind of get your stuff in a little bit, and that crowd was going to carry those matches, And
every break in the match where the guys are just staring at each other was only because the crowd was so loud that they just gave it a minute.
Yeah,
which I think built the story up so much more.
And the crowd was chanting that like song at some point, which I'm not sure what it was. I did look it up, and it has something to do with like their sporting events over there in France, because anytime like during the sporting event somebody does something phenomenal or they say phenomenal, they do that chant. So at the beginning when they were introducing AJ Styles and they said phenomenal, and that the crowd kind of broke out into that, and that's what it was. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for saying that, because I was very confused as what they were singing. Throughout that entire main event.
Yeah, and both the guys are professionals, like letting the crowd breathe a little bit, not just hitting high spot after high spot after high spot. They recognized what the crowd was, and they let the crowd kind of do their thing, and they let moments and chants breathe a little bit and step back in the ring and slowed it down so they could let the crowd do their thing. And
Yeah.
It was just a shout out to how professional they are in the ring. And like we were talking about with the AEW world title with Swerve and Christian, for it to be Cody's first like real defense on TV. I think they might have done one at like a house show or something, but like for it to be the first televised title defense, like that was a good selection to have AJ Styles
for sure
be in there, because AJ Styles is a professional and he carries his weight in the ring, you know.
Professional. Yeah.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. AJ was probably the best first televised opponent you could have given him.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he had like a throwback attire.
He did. He threw it back
purple.
to what he wore against Dusty.
Yeah. It was kind of like an Undertaker throwback attire too.
Yeah.
Like the black and purple or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong, but it kind of reminded me of that. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
And then the Dusty thing. Yeah.
What about Cody kicking out of the burning hammer?
Yeah.
The most protected finisher in professional wrestling.
Okay.
And he kicked out at 1.
Cody did the Hulk Hogan Hulk up after like the 1 count.
Yeah.
It's fucking amazing.
He hit the Cody cutter off the top rope too.
That was nuts.
Yeah. I've seen there was some backlash for that event, for the ending of that event on the internet, in the IWC, but for the crowd in the match, I thought it was a solid match. Like, you got to let them do what they're gonna do. Like, you can't set your expectations too high. Like you said, this was his first title defense. Like, you can't. You gotta build
right
with his championship reign and these matches he's gonna have. So
right,
you can't blow for him.
You can't blow your load without doing the pumping. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You got, you know what I mean? Like, I was trying to think of a different analogy, but like, I'm just saying, like,
right.
You got to let it build. Like, if he has a 5-star fucking incredible, like whatever, all of his other title defenses are just going to see mid, you know?
So, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure who his next challenger will be. I mean, time will tell with that.
Yep.
You know, then we had Raw. Was it in Hartford, Connecticut? Maybe.
It was.
Yeah, at the XL Center. Yep.
Well,
yep. It was the start
was late, man. He was still locked in the headquarters.
Yeah. That was good too. Yeah.
And you know, it was the King of the Ring, first round King of the Ring for the Raw side for men and women. It was refreshing to see more wrestling on Raw and less storylines and less talking. I mean, they still had their heavy dose of that, but to have like more matches and more people in the ring doing their thing, and it was designed because of the beginning of the tournament, but it was nice to see. It kept me, because when they go into storyline, I kind of lose interest and kind of stare off. But when there's matches,
that's when you start scrolling on the phone, when they're doing a lot of talking and not a lot of fighting. Like, if you notice, that first promo was 4 or 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Right into the match.
Right into the match, yeah.
The CM Punk promo was 4 or 5 minutes long, right into a match.
Yeah. So, and the first promo leading into that match, you kind of got the information that Drew was supposed to be in the tournament, but Jay ended up taking his place.
Yeah, and that's cool how they're crossing, because Drew was on the Pat McAfee show talking about having broken bones in his elbow. And that wasn't ever disclosed before, but he said it on Pat McAfee show. Oh, I have broken bones in my elbow, and I'm still going out and wrestling every night. Then they fed that into the storyline of, oh, he's injured, he's not cleared. And then Adam Pearce said to Drew backstage, like, you're the one that ran your mouth and said you were injured. Like, we didn't know you were injured. You ran your mouth and said you were injured. So, like, I like how they're crossing over. I'm a big fan of Pat McAfee, so like they're crossing over stuff that happens on his show and bringing it into like the WWE shows and like making that kind of kayfabe kind of, you know, and
that's
even
smart.
though I don't know if he's really injured or not, but it seemed to be, you know, but that was very interesting and well done. And like you said, main event Jey Uso comes out, has a match with Finn Balor, which both of them are put on a really good match.
I agree. Yeah.
Finn Balor's really good in the ring. And
I just wish Finn was getting more credit than he's getting lately.
Yeah.
Well, like, it's a lot of time, at least. He does get his matches. He's always there, you know.
Yeah.
He might not be champion, but yeah.
I'm not saying give him a title, but give him a win.
Yeah.
Personally,
it kind of sucks. He was just a victim of the injury bug and stuff, and his time kind of passed.
Right.
You know, his time kind of passed him by with all of the talent coming in and everything else. And I think that he's making what they're giving him work. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
You know. So then we went on. Drew McIntyre left. As he pulled out, CM Punk pulled up like.
In the
his car was parked behind him.
In the Z28 Camaro.
The Camaro.
Yeah, the old school Z28 Camaro. Yeah.
Like Punk drives that around.
Before you get into that, I won't talk much about it because there's still not much to talk about it. But as Drew pulled away, there was another little QR Kev that popped up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
But which led to another creepy video.
Yep.
Which at the bottom, if you scrolled all the way down, there was the bird logo, whatever that is, the raven.
Yep.
You pressed on that, and it came to this weird little thing with missing letters.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
And
I seen that. I did see that. Yep.
It turned out to say, if I could find it, it says, "You know nothing. Hell is only a word. Reality is much, much worse." Again, nothing to really go off of.
Right. Just more build for it, but
more build. Then, like you said, CM Punk was waiting behind Drew to pull in.
Yeah, like I'm like watching the videotape from the ring. Every time like one of those pops up, I'm waiting for him to go 7 days and fucking. It's like, oh boy.
But
anyway, so
hacking with
we
some
already
kind of
know when it's gonna come. There was a date in the one previous teaser, 5/25, which is Bo Dallas's birthday.
Yeah. So could be one or the other or both. Yeah.
Could it be SummerSlam? Yeah.
I think they're running into an issue right now, like they did with Bray Wyatt, that his thoughts were so out there and so like far-reaching that they get in danger of overshooting it and getting to a point where like everything comes. It's like you're stretching it out so much that it's not what do you call it, translating on the screen, and that I think that was an issue with Bray Wyatt with the Fiend, because the Fiend character was like really interesting and really intriguing, but everything just kept getting pulled out longer and longer and longer and not getting to a point. It was just a continuous mystery where at some point, like, it's like, feed us something or we're just going to lose interest.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like they got to do something with this sooner rather than later. Because if this drags all the way out to SummerSlam, me included, no one's going to really give a shit.
Yeah, get to the meat and the potatoes.
That's right. That's right.
Give me that main course. You've given us the appetizers, little teasers, and not even that. Has anyone in the crowd really even seen these teasers until they go home?
Do little ones in the crowd, like in the live event. Yeah, I saw before on Raw before Becky Lynch came out and stuff with Michael Cole. There's a video from the crowd, like the chairs are sitting in the ring, like they're about to come out, and like the screen flickers and like they start 7 days starts.
But like past that, are they seeing it? Like I feel like the next step in this, if you're not going to give us a reveal, is someone backstage hiding in a corner or something. Like, let us know they're actually fucking there.
They're probably not.
Clash at the Castle, guys.
At least Darby Allin's producing their videotapes they fucking put out.
Well, he's got a lot of free time with a broken nose and a foot leg.
So like I said, going on, CM Punk came out and talked about tweet Drew McIntyre, tell him to come back. He's on his phone, and I thought Drew was going to come out. So like I thought there was going to be like a face-to-face or some sort of thing where CM Punk reveals like his return date or like even says like my rehab's going. And the fact that he didn't, and it was just CM Punk just talking in the ring, it lost me.
Yeah.
I got lost, and the crowd was dead for it. The crowd didn't really react to anything much, and
because they want that face off too.
I thought he was gonna reveal some type of thing about him being ready to wrestle or something. I thought that's kind of what he was getting to at the first point, and then clearly he's like, "I'll hold this hostage for as long as I have to."
And for 7.5 minutes,
leaves the ring.
Yeah, we got to go to a commercial break, so I'm not going to hold it hostage anymore. But see you guys later.
But he, he kind of broke down to Drew. He's like, "Do you really hate me, or do you hate yourself?" At the end, which I thought was good. Like the last part of the promo when he was speaking, I enjoyed that. Jesse, you said he had that guillotine comment to Pat McAfee. Yeah,
which the crowd didn't get that at all. But and I kind of overlooked it, like, oh, he's a choke artist, but he's not the same choke artist as me. And then he looked over at Pat, and Pat was like, "Oh yeah, the guillotine." Like,
and it had two meanings because I looked it up. If it go back to the UFC thing, he tried to put the guillotine on somebody, and it kind of backfired on him in the match. And then, of course, Jack Perry.
Right.
Yeah. Didn't the UFC one get reversed into like an armbar or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
But just little subliminal shots is just going to keep happening on both shows. It just is what it is at this point. I'm not really big on it, but you know, it happens.
Yeah.
And we had some more King of the Ring qualifiers. There wasn't really too many of the matches to note. I mean,
right.
I wanted to make a note on Lyra. Lyra Valkyria. I think she's very talented, and for first match on Raw, she did really good.
Yeah, she's good, and I think she's got the blessing from Becky Lynch being the next Irish women's wrestler to come up and
came out and helped her. Yep.
Just some winners. Io Sky beat Natalia. Go on in the tournament. That was kind of I could see that happen. Ilya Dragunov and Ricochet had a good match.
Yeah,
for what it was.
That was solid. I hope they get to run it back down the road sometime.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. I think Ricochet kind of had seeds of like a heelish kind of turn afterwards, and there was an exclusive video on the internet of him saying like he wasn't happy with not being good enough for something, but he's got the Speed Championship.
But he's he's got that champion,
right?
Yeah.
But they don't let him come out with that one.
Zoe Stark beat Ivy Nile. I'm a big fan of Ivy Nile. I think Ivy Nile's really good. I don't think they're really booking her that great. I think she's a really good worker.
I think Zoe Stark is pretty decent too.
Yeah,
she is. But Ivy Nile just seemed to me, from what I've seen of her in-work capability, is better than Zoe Stark.
Yeah. Ivy Nile's got that junkyard dog, like the chain coming out, and whatever, and she just looks like imposing when she comes out. Even for being small in size, she still looks kind of imposing.
Yeah, and that
I'd like
finisher,
to see them do more.
That Zoe Stark hit on her was pretty crazy. That backflip, knee to the face.
Yeah,
makeshift GTS backflip.
Go to a wake.
Yeah.
RTS.
The wake up call.
And then we kind of had like a little tease. Bronson Reed and Chad Gable with Sami Zayn. I'm not a big Bronson Reed fan. I'm not really sold on the Chad Gable stuff. I think that they got so much going on in WWE right now. The Intercontinental title's kind of just getting pushed to the side a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of just losing focus on that. That's just for me. Maybe other people are invested in it. It's just the King of the Ring, and then stuff with the Judgment Day, and the stuff with the Bloodline, and the stuff with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest as champions. I think Sami Zayn's title reign's kind of just getting lost in the mix a little bit. And it's kind of,
to me, the problem is how many PLEs they have lined up, man. If you got Clash at the Castle, immediately after that, you got King of the Ring, immediately followed by that is Clash at the Castle, immediately following that is Money in the Bank. Spread them out a little bit more. Have more time to build up every match and make the cards longer for the PLEs.
Well, there used to be more. I mean, for each brand used to have their own, which was annoying as hell.
I know, we're talking almost 2 a month.
Yeah, I couldn't stand that. Yeah, when they had more when each brand had it, because you would only see the respected brands on it and the championship, and it was just like the storylines were just so all over the place with it, like to know what's going on where and when with who and who's going to be on what. At
the end of the day, it's a business. The more premium live events they're doing, the more money they're making.
Oh yeah.
That's just, at the end of the day, they're in the business to make money. Entertaining fans comes second to them making money, because if they're not making money, then
Yeah.
Well,
They're
if
not
they
eating,
wanna,
so.
if they want to maximize their money, I'd say stay going international.
Mm-hmm.
You get better crowds, and you can bring a shit ton of money in from people who've never had that before.
Sure, they're getting plenty of money from their Saudi Arabia shows. They don't need to be going overseas a whole lot.
Yeah, no, but it's on
It
to
is-
that. It's
it was-
international now, and it's going to continue to hit more cities and
Yeah,
They're
and
talking
touch
a
the world.
WrestleMania in London soon, in the next few years.
I don't foresee that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Triple
No.
H said if they pony up the money, they're in.
Well,
Yeah,
that's any place, though, I'm sure.
Oh,
So
yeah. I mean,
And
we
to
got
go back to,
WrestleMania
like-
41 in Vegas next year.
And to go back, like you think about it, like their viewership would be down because it was nice to have Backlash in France and to have a pay-per-view on at 1 in the afternoon and not staying up till 11, 12 at night to watch it. But like WrestleMania over 2 days, like their viewership would be down on a weekend at 1 o'clock viewing it as opposed to 7, 8 o'clock at night. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah,
there would be a lot of technicalities there they would have to overcome. To get back to Raw, Lyra Valkyria defeated Dakota Kai to go on. Again, solid
match.
Performance. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't see 2 members of Damage Control going on, and I think they're having Valkyria be built strong. So
she's my personal pick to win the tournament.
Yeah. I don't know. They haven't released the SmackDown people yet. I'll have to wait and see who they release to kind of
I thought they did.
judge off that. No, I don't. The SmackDown people for men and women, I don't think they've been revealed yet.
Blacked out still.
Yeah. And in the main event of the night, we had the rematch of sorts, Sheamus versus Gunther, and a King of the Ring first rounder. And if you like men slapping meat, boy, that was the match for you.
Did you see Sheamus's chest at the end of that shit?
Yeah.
It was meat versus meat for sure.
Yeah,
meat fest.
And they don't pull no punches. You know, they're hard hitting. That's their style.
Right.
And it's nice to see Gunther and Sheamus both in a match against somebody who's not afraid to do that, because if they're in a match with like a finesse, like Jey Uso is like a finesse wrestler. He does all like the high spots and flipping moves, so he's not really, I don't feel, into the hard hitting smash mouth style. So like going against like one of them would have to kind of pull their punches a little bit to not be so hard hitting and as effective. You know, that's why I like the Gunther and Sami Zayn match, because Sami Zayn is not afraid to get fucking walloped, you know.
Yeah.
And but like
He'll
certain wrestlers, their style I don't feel translates very well, because they have to kind of relax. But to see them put it on, and you know, Sheamus selling the knee until he had to use his knee, and then all of a sudden it was good. But you know,
that's
I think it was
storytelling.
It was a solid match. Yeah. Well, he would sell his knee, could barely even stand up on it. Then he'd do a flying knee with that same exact knee to Gunther's face. It was like, okay, now your knee doesn't hurt you anymore. But you know, that was Raw. I mean, I don't think as of now there's too much to look forward to as far as AEW, as far as storyline. You know,
it'd be interesting to see what happens here on Dynamite and where they go with everything. But
is Dynamite followed by Rampage this week, or is that just last week?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Same with Collision. We didn't get a Collision this past week.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to rant for a second for all these fucking brainwashed online IWC people that sit there and say that AEW is doing so well and the network's so happy with them. If the network was so fucking happy with them and how well they were doing and the numbers they're pulling in, they wouldn't be switching their shows around at different times and days. Like they wouldn't be like, oh well, you know, there's a NBA playoff match coming up, so you know we're gonna have to switch this match to Wednesday, or you know, it doesn't make fucking sense. Like if they were so happy with the numbers they were pulling in, they wouldn't be so happy to be switching their fucking shows around at different days and times.
Right.
And it takes a little bit away from it when you know it's not live too, in my opinion. You know, in their defense, the playoffs are on. You got the NHL, the NBA, so but still. Yeah.
But if AEW is such an established show on their networks, then the NBA and the like TNT, TBS would be able to work their schedule around that.
True.
You know, we're looking at, you know, not to get into sports or anything, but like the Bruins and Celtics and the Knicks and Rangers all share arenas and they're in the playoffs at the same time. So they work the schedule around it to make it work.
Right.
If AEW is such a successful program, if AEW is such a successful program, they would work the schedule of the playoffs around what I'm saying, the scheduling of the playoffs, but they don't. But
go Rangers. Well,
it is what it is. But but you know, I'm at a point where when we first started this, you know, I was following WWE again. I was following along with AEW online, but I wasn't watching their shows. But I've been watching the shows a lot of times as they air, and I've been trying to watch them as they air and not DVR it.
Yeah.
Because if we're gonna be sitting here and trying to break down wrestling, like, I don't want to be like one of those guys that takes away from the rating. You know, like, I want to contribute to the rating if what we're talking about pertains to that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to really remember that at the end of the day, like, we're making content off from what these guys are putting out. So I don't want to be one of those guys that's like, oh, fuck their rating, but not be contributing to it, but us talking about it and burying it, you know? So I'm trying to be devil's advocate with it, but
no, I try to enjoy it all, you know, and try to look on the bright side and the positive side of it.
I will say I enjoyed last week's Dynamite far more than I've enjoyed previous weeks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And as much as I'm not liking the Elite storyline, I'm looking forward to watching Dynamite and seeing what they're going to do with it.
Right.
As I'm looking forward to SmackDown this Friday to see the King of the Ring. If they do the same thing with the first rounds and just having wrestling throughout the show.
Yeah.
They got to sprinkle in storyline because they got to keep the bloodline thing going.
I think it'll be harder for SmackDown, though, because it's only a 2-hour show opposed to Raw's 3 hours, where they have more time spread out to have good matches.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
this week, SmackDown's just going to turn into an episode of Speed.
And a lot of previous wrestlers really like their speed, but they announced for one of the Raw King of the Ring matches, though, that they were going to be doing it at just a live show.
Yeah, the Sunday. And the one women's one will be Sunday.
Right. So maybe they'll do the same thing where, like, a couple of the matches are just at house shows and not aired, and they'll just tell you who won, which I'm okay with, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
It gives people that go to these house shows and these unaired events, like, something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know, because my experience in the past going to house shows, you see the card or like whatever, and you don't really know the card much beforehand, but you pretty much know who's going to win.
Right.
But if they say, oh, this is a King of the Ring qualifier or something, it gives you a little bit of something to look forward to at a house show.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I just wanted to mention, Kev, you did mention it, but WrestleMania for next year, WrestleMania 41 has been announced, and it is in Las Vegas.
Viva!
Las Vegas.
And they moved it back a couple weeks. It's now April 19th and 20th.
Okay. Oh.
Which I think I don't understand the exact purpose of that.
Yeah, and they also released the logo for it.
It looks nice.
It looks nice, and it kind of, relates to CM Punk's tattoos a little bit, too.
It does. Almost.
Yes. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm, like I said, I don't like kind of projecting, but I'm really thinking they're going to build Punk having his WrestleMania moment next year.
Yeah, me too. I agree.
I think that was a big negotiation when they were trying to work a contract with him, that he just wanted a WrestleMania moment, and let's hope he makes it. I promise I won't buy a ticket, so I won't, I was just going to say that's my birthday weekend. We going to Vegas, guys, or what?
Well, no, I might have to curse it. No.
if you're buying me a ticket for my birthday, I'll go.
Let me sell my house real quick.
All right, guys, unless you guys got anything else, I think that pretty much wraps up the weekly report.
Quick shout out to the fans. You guys are slowly but surely building up our socials.
Yeah.
We're always watching them. Always. We never stop watching them, honestly. YouTube's getting up there.
Yep.
Twitter's getting up there. Instagram's growing. We love the feedback. We love interacting with you guys. We hope you guys continue to ride along with us.
Yeah, we're almost 50 subscribers on YouTube. Trying to get there. Trying to hit that first mark.
Right. I know it doesn't seem like a lot to a lot of people, but to us, the fact that we're even at 37 honestly means more than the world to me. 'Cause I didn't anticipate getting any when we started this, but
we're at 39
people
now, I
are
believe. Yeah.
39 now.
Oh shit!
But who's counting? Yeah.
Ow!
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But yeah,
I just
it's
got
cool.
really loud.
It's cool to see the interactions, and we want to hear feedback, good and bad. If there's something we can do different, if there's something more. I know I saw we had some interaction from some TNA fans that want to see TNA be spotlighted a little bit more and stuff. If there's TNA fans that want us to cover something else, I mean, we're about pro wrestling. There's not just two companies in pro wrestling,
Yeah.
So, and shout out to the people from TNA that went to the show in Albany that interacted on the internet and stuff. It was pretty cool to see. I wish I could have made the event. I was gonna go and I got stuck at work and couldn't end up going. But shout out to you guys. And
try harder.
Yeah.
If I don't have a job, I can't afford these things. So
right.
All right, guys, that was the RRW Weekly Report, and I am Jesse with Kev and Andy.
And you've been listening to the Ringside Renaissance Wrestling Podcast. Peace.
Boom.